The Noma project for us, for sure, was one of these projects that defined the way we could work. But it was super interesting talking about the details. And René was very focused on having an experience that was following the 3 seasons. And we were working with skilled people and other lighting designers as well to define how do we change the mood from these 3 different seasons, not 4, but 3.
Yeah.
And we found out that changing or tuning the color temperature, so it kind of followed the daylight in the summer and the winter and so on. So we wanted to have this fireplace, cozy feeling, and we would kind of close the light around the tables more in the winter. We would work more with indirect light in the summer, so we would pull the beautiful daylight into the space. We had about an interview with 40, 50 people about how they saw the light, and
amazing.
Even Ali in the dishwashing, who's a partner of Noma.
Yeah.
We had good conversations with him, good energy, and he was like, I know they want cozy, but I want a lot of light. I want daylight. I want daylight all year. Fine, you're going to get
all the best working conditions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So each of the different areas, and it is like a small factory when you visit the old place. Yeah. The fermentation had other needs and so on. Was also pushing the boundaries from a technology point of view. René wanted to change the color temperature according to the seasons, but he didn't want to have less light. So that's the first time where you can change the color temperature, but without dimming the lumen. So when we were dimming, it would be independent of the color. That's actually
so you actually developed that innovation, or that was like
that was the first time. That was before there's a technology called DALI 2, where you can have more addresses and moods in one IP address, but you couldn't do it at that time.
Amazing.
So actually, there's like 2 drivers for each little lamp you see out there.
It's a level of perfection, but it's also a level of innovation that nurtures
exactly,
or like reaches everybody. And
it does.
What I find really interesting also that you were saying before was that I was also mentioning in the beginning, this level of collaboration and working together across fields and with lighting that often is like something that's really added as a very last thing and not properly integrated. And that was even how when we started Spacon, we were like, no, even with interior and like behavioral interest and the whole thing where how you meet things. Yeah. And I think it's interesting when you say it with lighting because it really resonates how often it's forgotten. And are you seeing like a develop towards it being then more integrated, or is it still something you see as a lack, or how would you say the world is now in terms of integrating lighting?
I see ourselves as pioneers, and it's getting much better the last 5 years than it was before, but it was still a long way from where we are brought in from the beginning, saying that we need an engineer to build this house and we need a lighting designer. We're not there yet, but lately we've gotten more and more calls from companies that we didn't expect. We worked on the headquarters from a really conservative company. It's of course a dream client to work with, but actually those clients are the toughest ones to negotiate with because there is a facilitation department that you have to go through, and you always come out without your clothes when you're done. But they treated us very nice. But the interesting part was the briefing from the client, from the owner of the company. When we had the first meeting was, Michael, I want my employees, when they come into our renovated headquarters, it should feel like a boutique hotel. So that's kind of a direction you can work with. And we actually took it from there, and it was super interesting. And it brings us back to another thing with technology and details. One thing is the light and the different layers of light. It's actually also a lot about how they interact with each other, the different layers. We use the lighting as an infrastructure in the building. You might not be aware of it, but I am. When you get older, you need more light. So we can actually customize the lighting level depending on where people are sitting. Some people don't need so much light. People need more light. We can dive into each little fixture in the whole building and program it, and people can decide themselves and so on. So it's definitely on the agenda, but we're not there yet. When we did Bjarke Ingels lighting, we talked about stripping, cutting off layers, and they can talk about how many layers they have cut off in the process. But we actually strip the fixtures for any surface treatment, so it's a raw aluminium. Yeah. It's difficult to see when you go there, but it actually looks super nice. So this whole raw thing has gotten into become a theme. More and more clients are buying into this, so that's something we're going to see more.
I think so.